everything is an opportunity if we're willing to see it that way and get curious on the what could be of the future. Every moment that we're encountering is an opportunity to learn, to grow, to fall on our face, to try again. Everything is an opportunity. So if we get curious and look at it as such, that's where we start to get creative.
Welcome to Limitless Minds, the podcast where curiosity meets greatness. If you're ready to discover what it takes to be truly limitless and push beyond your own limits, you're in the right place.
All right, what is up? We are back on the Limitless Minds Podcast today. It's Josh Liffreck and myself, Harry Wilson. I'm excited about a really cool guest that we've known for some time, and she's got quite the story, both professionally, personally, wins, losses, if you will, across the board. So I'm just really excited to talk to her about her journey, resilience, some of the things she's up to. She's a pretty new author, so really excited about that. But first, as we do, Josh, I'm excited about jumping into the neutral nuggets. And I always have to think about these before I get on these things, but you typically have something teed up. So
yeah, I do. First of all, I have to just point this out. Mari and Anna, who are our producers behind the scenes. First of all, hi, how you doing? Happy holidays. Thank you for all you do. But number two, they will recognize how much more professional you are, Harry, when you come on the pod than Travis and I are. So I just want to compliment your professionalism, and I'm going to definitely not be there today. But it's okay.
I thought you were going to say that, I'm only professional when I'm on the podcast. That's where I thought you were headed.
That or Papa Shot.
Either way, I'll take it.
So for the listeners,
compliments are rare, so I'll take it.
Harry Wilson, Papa Shot world record holder. There's a story behind that.
That was epic night. Epic night in the Papa Shot. We'll go there another day. But the Caribe Royale in Orlando.
I think the big key for me with that Papa Shot, just completely sidebar, was the metal net. The metal net, I think, added a little bit, like the chain link net.
It felt old school. Gritty. It was like we were playing street ball.
Great.
You know what I mean? Like we were in New York.
On
these streets. So that's probably what I did so well, because that's kind of like my vibe.
That's where you're from. Yeah. The mean streets of
Richmond, man. Neutral nugget, give it to me. All
right, neutral nugget. So for me, one of the things that's been going on in my life is I decided I wanted to train for a half marathon. I've run marathons before in my past, but as I've gotten older, running has turned into this thing where it's a love-hate relationship. I love running. I love being outside. I love being but I've been constantly getting injured as I run. Now, the big thing was this. I invested in a coach. So I've never done that before. I've never had a coach to coach me running. I've run 3 marathons in my life, Big Sur, New York, and Boston. And Boston, I ran back in the pack. I didn't qualify for it just because so people don't think I'm really fast. But I invested in a coach for the first time. And so she gives me a plan every week. She's out in Colorado. She sends me this plan every week. And I'm following the plan. And sure enough, I hurt myself probably about month and a half ago, about 6 weeks ago. And I had in the half marathon I was training for is this weekend. So there was as soon as I got injured, I was like, man, it's just not coming back. I tried to take some time off and then rerun it. It kept getting inflamed. So I just bit the bullet and I said, I got to go to PT. Now, this is the neutral nugget, was instead of being frustrated and fighting against the fact that I had inflammation and swelling in my quadricep, and that every time I went running that was occurring, I said, I got to figure this out. I would love to run a half marathon. I want to figure this out. So I go in for about 6 weeks of physical therapy. And what we determined is that I was kind of, my gait was a little bit off, and then I had some strength deficiencies, especially in my quadriceps and my glutes. Right. So I didn't have a strong butt. I had a weak butt. That's basically what it boiled down to.
TMI. It's good.
Yeah, everybody wanted to know that. So anyway, I go through the 6 weeks. I do the program, and the program is like I'm on the elliptical now. Like if I'm going to stay in shape, it's like an hour to an hour and a half sometimes on the elliptical machine, which for those of you who have been on an elliptical machine, that could be mind numbing. I've used that time to listen to a Tom Clancy novel, to make a bunch of calls and emails. I did the Moad, Trevor Moad, our founder, would always call us halfway through a run or a hike or something. And he would call out of nowhere, "Hey, Harry, how's it going, man?" And you're just like, "Oh, Trev's working out. It's awesome. It's beautiful." Yeah. So I was doing that. But anyway, get through that. And then I realized, like, I'm back running and I'm starting to slowly pick up, steam. And last week I did a 9-mile run, which is the first time I've ever done anything over like 7 miles in about 5 to 6 years. Bro.
I mean, that's more miles than I'm doing.
It was good. It was good, right? But I also realized I'm not ready for a half marathon. Mm-hmm. So I made the call, and I'm not doing the half marathon this weekend. I'm pushing it. This is the neutral nugget. Mm-hmm. Dealing with reality, right? Yeah. A collaboration, as Travis Thomas always says, yes, and a collaboration with reality. Mm. Yes, the half marathon is next weekend, this weekend coming up, and my body is not quite ready for it. And I would like to actually not just survive this, but I would actually like to run it. So I'm pushing it off a month. There's another one in Lakewood Ranch in another month. So that's my next nugget. It's just catching myself, trying to push. In the past, I would have just gone and run it and suffered. But no, I'm not doing that. Getting myself back in order.
I like how you said
the sauce for that, by the way, that would be what kind of sauce? That seems like just like, I don't know. It's like, I gotta say that's like a teriyaki sauce.
Yeah, I was gonna say something
There's
tangy.
Sweetness to it. Yeah, there's tanginess to it. Yeah.
Tangy. Yeah. What's funny? I like how you said a collaboration with reality. That's a cool way to think about it. You know what I mean? It's like I'm partnering. A strategic partnership with reality. You know what I mean? It sounds professional.
That's it.
It sounds like I can buy into that. You know what I mean? I like that collaboration with reality. I love that.
That's a Travis Thomas, man. I'm totally stealing it from him.
By the way, what did you injure?
Quadricep.
Okay. Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
And we can do this. We're family, right? We're family. Okay. Is it a quadricept with a T at the end? Is there a T at the end of quadricep?
No, there's
it's
S.
a genuine question.
It's quadriceps.
You're right.
Yes.
I thought you said with a T. I thought you said with a T.
Because there's four
plural
muscles.
No, I know, but I thought you said quadriceps. And so for the young children that are watching, I want to make sure they're getting their spelling right. And if it's an SAT word, they know what they're looking for.
There was a time when I was at Brooklyn College and I was working towards getting into a master's program that I knew every single muscle in the human body.
Yeah, that's good.
Because I had to take anatomy. I knew every single one. I don't know them anymore. I know like tensor, flexor, fascia. I don't know them anymore.
Okay, my neutral nugget. I so many times in these neutral nuggets, I do something with my kids. I'm trying to mix it up today, but it is a family related thing. So this time of year.
Does it have to do with a 36-hour drive?
No, but the person that was in riding shotgun with me in the 36-hour drive, my wife, Courtney, who's wonderful. She works her tail off. She's like, one of the super moms, right? Works a ton. Also, is the leader of all things like logistics and household stuff like that. And so when it comes to the holidays, and you're preparing for the holidays, whether it be travel, whether it be gifts, making sure Santa has all lists, right? And that those Santa gifts are executed, all the things, right? She runs the show, and like she's somebody who's very low stress, 362 days of the year, or 340 days of the year, right? Like
she's even. She's just neutral and even keeled.
But when it comes to holiday, like she's like a different animal, you know what I mean? And so I have to be that presence of like, just, like being where our feet are and just realizing that like, listen, we've done this for a long time. We're going to get it done. And then trying to contribute where I'm allowed to, not, you know what I mean? There's many places I can contribute, but where like she gives me permission, if you will, to contribute to. And so I was just trying to keep her neutral the other day on this. I mean, I know there's a lot of people that are, are trying to plan for Christmas and great gifts, and it comes fast, and just realizing that like the holidays are going to be fantastic regardless of what we're able to provide, how fast we can get them, how quickly Amazon can ship, how quickly, all the different things. And
look at those Amazon dates before you buy something.
Yeah. And then also knowing she doesn't have to do it alone. You know what I mean? And, because I think she thinks that she's got to like do everything from A to Z. You know what I mean? I'm like, hey, I do have 2 hands, 2 legs. You know what I mean? Like I can, just tell me what I need to be doing, and like I will get it done. You know what I mean? So I think she thinks she's got to go with those things alone. But that's my neutral nugget of the day. Just like I think that being neutral, a lot of times is hard by yourself. You know what I mean? Just
Mm.
because how are we built, right? We're built to kind of respond to negativity. We're built to kind of, you respond to the chaos, but oftentimes with like some people, that village, that our community, whether it be a spouse, partner, group of friends, whatever it might be, it's a lot of times it's easier to lock in on neutral when like we have some folks that can kind of take some things off our plate, can help prune the tree, like kind of prune all the different things. And like, you said, delegate, share responsibility, collaborate, collaborate with reality.
It's interesting with that though. I'll throw this at you. One of the things that I've seen in that world, and this is maybe something, is that having that space to even know what to throw off on people.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Having that space to even like go through the list and delegate. Sometimes like people, like when they're in that stress mode, they can't even take that breath to step back. So how have you done that? How have you helped Court do that?
Well, first of all, ask. A lot of times just silence is not golden in this scenario. You're to be and like you can't read minds.
Hey,
So
Court's got it. No problem.
yeah, so I mean, like, hey, like what can I, hey, what can I do that takes something off your plate? And sometimes it has nothing to do. In this case, we're talking about the holidays and gifts giving and but there's also life happening too. So there's carpools and rides to practice and camps and stuff like that. So even yesterday, I was like, she was at a doctor's appointment. She was like, hey, okay, can you grab Gracie and take her and her carpool? I'll go and get Nora. And I was like, well, why not? I was like, what times? Like, just confirm what times. And I'm like, well, there's no reason I can't do both. Like, and I said, lift your mind. Like, I'll grab those two. You know what I mean? I'll grab them both. I'll handle both. Right. I'll be the Uber. And so I think that was like a deep breath for her. Right. And that probably bought her 30, 45 minutes of something else. Right. So a lot of times just asking and kind of also just like maybe clarifying, because, she doesn't always give me all the information, or she thinks I know it already. And so I have to kind of clarify with her just to make sure, because a lot of times the logistics are a lot easier because I can jump in. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. I mean, it's
But you nailed it there. Like, part of neutrality is asking the questions.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's going to those next levels and getting clarification and understanding where our partners are and then understanding what's needed too. I think that's it's so what it made me think of, Harry, was the excellent thing that we saw Monica do this week.
Yeah. Yeah.
It like literally was like go deep, go ask those questions. Hey, what time? Okay, that's great. But what time does Nora need to pick her up? Oh, I can do both. Like I could take care. It's so sometimes they don't even think that you'd be willing to do that. So that's awesome, man. Yeah.
I mean, I think curiosity is a skill. And it needs to be something that needs to be practiced. It's a muscle that can be strengthened, and it can atrophy if you're not asking questions, right? Whether you're in sales and like from a sales skills perspective, and a lot of times, like, are we really on a constant quest for knowledge? Are we really asking questions with the intent of trying to understand, right? Or are we just doing the small talk game, right? Are we really, whether it be spouse, partner, family, are we really asking questions because we care, because we're trying to maybe help, we're trying to jump in? What is it, right? So I think curiosity is a skill that all of us probably need to sharpen. You know what I mean? Even no matter where we're at in that spectrum, like, hey, how can I get more curious? You know what I mean?
What's funny about that? Just last night I went to dinner. My wife's away with my older son, so it's my son and my youngest son, who's the basketball player, and myself. We got invited to a friend of ours he's Brazilian, and he's an amazing. I mean, Harry, like, anything that comes off this guy's grill is better than a 4-star restaurant. You're just like, oh my God, this is great. So we go to dinner at this family. It's just the four of us. It's like him and his wife and my 15-year-old and me. And I was realizing, like, my 15-year-old was really active and engaged in the conversation with these two. And I was like, why with this family does he feel so comfortable? And he's so out there, and he's saying stuff, and he's asking questions. And I realized, why? Because they asked him questions.
Mm-hmm.
They were curious about what was going on in his life. So that brought him out of his shell. It was really, that's the whole thing. Ask the questions,
cool.
but with like genuine curiosity, and I think what that leads us to, in terms of curiosity, is honestly our next guest. So why don't you just introduce our next guest?
Yeah, man.
There's so much to ask her about her journey. So incredible.
Yeah. I'm excited for the listeners to meet Krista Ryan. She's a mindset and performance coach, speaker, facilitator, author, whose work focuses on helping people lead stronger through adversity, change, and uncertainty. And so she's the founder of KFG Coaching. which stands for keep fucking going, which I'll say just because that's what it stands for.
Going.
Yeah. So she's a certified executive coach through ICF and the creator of the KFG method, which we'll talk about, which is a framework she designed to help individuals and teams cultivate clarity, resilience, and grounded action, even in their toughest moments. Before launching her coaching practice, Krista spent nearly 2 decades as the HR director at her family-owned bank, which shaped her unique blend of practical leadership, emotional intelligence, and real-world experience. And today, she coaches leaders, athletes, organizations, and entrepreneurs around the world. She's one of the Limitless Minds coaches that we love to call room tilters. And over the past, I think the cool thing that, I think we'll touch on today is that, just because she is a expert in kind of mindset and peak performance and being at your best, she's had to go through the kind of, one of those human experiences that many of us have either had, shared, or observed, as she's had to, the last about 2 years, I believe, Josh, she's battled a cancer journey and has had to navigate that personal battle. And it's a journey that she's met with, the same strength, grace, and determination that she teaches. We've been able to observe it. We've been kind of, fans for her in the background, checking in, getting updates, et cetera. But I think that this really given her an even deeper understanding of what real resilience looks like and informs so much of what her message is today. And so I'm curious to kind of dive into how that experience has kind of evolved the way that she coaches people. But I mentioned she's an author of Keep Fucking Going, or KFG. And we're excited to dive into her story, her work, and the actionable tools she brings to help all of us lead and live with more intention, courage, and momentum. So Krista Ryan, check her out. All right, gang. I told you in the intro that we were excited about sharing Krista Ryan with you guys. She's been a longtime friend, coach in the Limitless Minds environment. She's one of the best of the best in the, the mindset, peak performance, executive coaching space. I mentioned she's an author. There's a lot we can talk about. She's had some, just a really interesting and crazy journey the last couple of years too, that I think we'll probably touch on a little bit. So Krista, what is up? Thanks for coming.
You forgot, Harry, one of the greatest human beings I've ever freaking met too. Yeah, Krista Ryan's in the house. We're super excited.
All right. I was waiting for that one. Now I'm going to Venmo. Okay, here it comes. Thank you. All right. It's coming your way. No, we're good. We're good.
That's good. Now I have money for presents. That's phenomenal.
It's good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Krista, where are you right now? Are you back home?
Yeah, I am. I'm home right now. I'm staring out the window at beautiful snow. I'm a snow girl. So I'm in Minnesota. You have to be a snow fan. I love skiing. I love the outdoors, and it's gorgeous here today. So I'm staring out the window, Southeast Minnesota, at the beautiful snowbanks. And I know you're jealous. Both of you are very jealous of me. I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Can I ask this question about Minnesota? So here's the thing. And I was talking to a friend about it the other day. I live in Florida. A lot of transients, a lot of people move here, right? Yeah. You never meet anybody from Minnesota. People in Minnesota don't leave Minnesota. That's what I think. That's my experience.
You're not looking hard enough, because they do leave Minnesota, especially in the winter. And they're coming.
Do they go mostly to Arizona though?
Arizona. Yeah. Arizona is the place to go. I think that's just easier flights for us.
Minnesota is one of the places to be in the summer though. With all the lakes and it's it reminds me we go up to northern Michigan in the summers, and it's very similar kind of just like God's country, up there, right? In general. And so
beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, so,
I've been to the airport.
Great airport.
It's a phenomenal airport.
Great.
It's literally, I got to go through Indianapolis. Awesome. There's a seafood place.
It's the best airport ever.
There's that. There's this. There's so many great things.
Yeah.
It's the best airport ever.
I want to get out of the airport one of these times, Krista, and go see a lake.
Call me up. Oh my gosh. The lakes here. And honestly, the changing of the seasons, to your point, they're gorgeous. It's so beautiful. Fall is my favorite time of year here. It's just amazing.
The wheels are turning.
But there's no wrong time to come. Someone's going to tell you, don't come in the winter. I disagree. It's beautiful. I'll lend you some snow boots. We'll go out in it. We'll play. We'll make some snowmen. It's fun. It'll be fun.
I love it. Well, listen, Krista, I love to kind of get into your journey a little bit, because pre modern day Krista, if you will, right? So
my past life.
Your past life. I know that you spent some time as an HR director, correct?
Correct.
And what business was that? Was that a family business, a family bank?
Family owned business. Yeah. So my husband and I still own and operate. We're third generation family bank owners. Now I have to be very careful when I say that, bank, because that's my Minnesota accent coming out. And I've had multiple times that I say that to people and they're like, what do you bake? What kind of pastries do you? I'm like, not baker, not baker, financial industry, banker.
That's funny.
So 20 years I was the HR director at the business that we own and operate. Yeah. So I consider myself a recovering human resources director.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, it's interesting. I mean, because like, obviously you did that for almost, around 2 decades, right?
Yeah.
And now you're on kind of like a different side of the people development space, you know what I mean, if you will, especially when you're engaging with these corporate audiences, of which, that's kind of one of the verticals of which you probably are, coaching people and teams.
Absolutely.
And so, how did you make that bridge? What was there a moment, or was there some sort of kind of story arc into like how you realized you wanted to shift into kind of a deeper human development work and like deeper into like coaching and whatnot?
Yeah, I think it was 2016 is when I made the official change. And I think honestly, Harry, it's because it took me far too long to understand and own the fact that I was the wrong person in that role, because I was also the owner of the business. So there was a conflict of interest, right? I'm HR and the owner of the business. I was telling myself that story like, oh, I'm a people's person. They can come to me with anything. Yes, but, so 2016 was the year I was like understanding that, seeing more and more of that. But I also was in love with supporting our staff. I was in love with helping them spread their wings and honestly fly elsewhere if that was the case, right? So my husband also was not sad to see me go, because he's like, Krista, you're growing our staff and they're spreading their wings elsewhere. And I'm like, well, that's okay. That's part of it.
Yeah.
But I became obsessed with that support and coaching. So I really didn't want to mess around. There's one thing in the world of the coaching, executive coaching and business coaching world. I wanted to make sure I did it the right way. So I stepped away from the HR world and I leaned full time into this executive workplace performance coach world by going and getting a 2-year certification. So I did not want to be the coach that just says I'm a coach. I wanted to make sure I knew what I was doing and I had the proper skill sets to do it effectively. I mean, we're working with people's careers and their lives. So I took it very, very serious. So I went and got a 2-year certification on somatic coaching. So for the listeners that are not used to the word somatic, that's a lot of how your body responds to certain situation. And I fell in love with it. And it's really the launch pad of what I do today now is somatic coaching and just executive and workplace performance coaching.
Was there like any one, or like, was there any, like, I know you said there's kind of a moment and you kind of realized it in 2016, but was there something, a conversation that happened? Was there a situation, or was it just like you had kind of been feeling it for a while and you were like, oh, this type of coaching, I'm interested in it. Let me dive into that.
Yeah, I couldn't get enough of it, to be honest with you, Josh. I was not doing enough HR responsibilities and duties, and I was doing way more conversational.
Everybody's like, hey, when do we sign up for health insurance? You're like, I don't know, but look, here's how we can handle that.
Yep, I don't care about that. Let's grow. Let's work on your skill sets. Let's lean into this new unexplored area. I was doing more of that, and then I was like letting all the other things drop on the wayside, right? So then I realized, wow, I'm really pouring my passion into this one realm of HR, which was really not even the realm of HR. So I quickly stepped away, and let me be honest, I should have done it years ahead of time, because we got the right person in the HR role in there. And now we still have the support as a coach, for someone else for our team. So it wasn't a aha moment. It was more of I'm leaning into my passion and purpose a little bit harder. And therefore the HR world is no longer mine to own.
Yeah. It feels like over the last, 10, 15 years, maybe last 2 decades, like there's this pre-COVID, post-COVID, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Experience that we have, whether it be individually as we live our lives, or whether it be professionally, et cetera. What have you, like, since you jumped into, executive coaching, workplace performance, et cetera, like what have you seen shift in like what people are really needing, or maybe what they're lacking? What are they really needing today versus yesterday, current state versus like pre-COVID, and how things have changed over those couple of years during COVID?
Oh, there's a lot of things, but what comes to the forefront is human connection and the awareness and understanding that we easily can have that sensation of isolation. Like a lot of us are working remotely. There's, just a lot of responsibilities on our plate that make us feel siloed and individual. It has shifted so much that we are better and stronger when we're doing things together in collaboration with each other. And that is a need I'm seeing across all organizations. Okay, but Krista, how do we do that? How do we strengthen our teams right now? How do we really work on that piece of connection when we're all, or not all, but a lot of us are working, in our living rooms, in our home offices, and we feel a sensation of that isolation island. I'm on this path alone. I don't even know if I know what I'm doing. How do I stay connected? And in the land of AI, let's be honest, that's intensified that sensation of isolation island, right? We're in a weird world. So I'm seeing more and more of that now than I ever have been before.
How do we solve for that though, Krista? Like what kind of advices or what kind of things can people do? Like I know yesterday for myself, I went to a cafe. I just worked in a cafe just so I could be around other human beings.
Spot on. Shift the energy. That's my first go-to, is when you're feeling that sensation. For me, it's lethargic, like that the vibration, the energy level is lower. And then I have to sit and like look around at my environment and say like, okay, how can I respond to this right now? I know what I'm feeling in my body. I know kind of what's happening around me. What can I choose to do? And to your point, Josh, switch it up. Sometimes just get up out of your seat, move around, move your body, take a couple deep breaths, go walk outside, even though it's 7 degrees, shock your system. It's going to remind you that you're still alive, and then get back after it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of tools for support that are right here in our access.
And that's kind of why I like, these group, workout classes, Orange Theories of the world, the F45s of the world. And, I typically just, what works for me is going first thing. And I think that one reason why it works for me is obviously just getting it done logistically, because otherwise it won't get done. But also, there's a group of 20 some odd people in there that are kind of striving for similar, some version of similar goals as I am. Right. And you begin to get to know some of these folks and whatnot. And so like I start, you kind of start your day with community, you know what I mean? You start your day with
100%.
with human connection. You start your day with like striving. You start your day with like, people. Right. And, versus, obviously I can go to the gym by myself, or I can just like maybe work out at the house or something like that. But it doesn't provide me the same, intensity, accountability or community. Yeah. Right. And so I think that I'm just right on like the, that human connection piece. I think it's so critical.
And make yourself be seen. I think there's value in that too. We forget the value in the power, and make yourself be seen, right? Yeah. So Josh going to a coffee shop and working in, he doesn't have to engage in story and conversation with everybody in there. And Harry, when you're working out, you don't have to, you're not going to sit there and talk someone. Well, maybe you are, but normally we don't sit there and have
she knows you too well, Harry. She knows you too well.
But there's a sense of community and doing it together and being seen together. Like, hey, I got you. Yeah. I see what you're working on there. Yeah. I see you sipping your coffee. I'm working over here. Like all of a sudden, your partnership, and you're not even having that deep connection and conversation.
Yeah.
But there's a sense of power in being seen.
Yeah, I love it. Well, listen. One thing you added to your resume, to your repertoire, is becoming an author. And it was cool because we got a chance to kind of observe that, you doing the work to put that together, to kind of finally get that piece out. And so first of all, really proud of you. That's amazing. I know that you've already impacted folks, and for those who haven't, read your book yet, keep effing going. KFG, yeah. You've developed this KFG
available method, on Amazon.
Right? Available on Amazon.
Just
perfect.
Is that an awkward plug?
Perfect plug. Perfect.
Yeah, and for the listeners who haven't read it yet and don't know what KFG method is, like what, in your own words, like what is the KFG method, and what inspired you to kind of put that framework together?
First of all, never wanted to be an author, which is actually really funny. Where I'm at in my life, I feel the most blessed and the most grateful for where I'm sitting, where I'm at in my life experience right now. Mm-hmm. And I never asked for any of it, and I never dreamed any of this would be possible. So I love that, because it was never on my vision board. Mm-hmm. It wasn't. But life unfolds in very mysterious and magical ways. Yeah. And so I became an author because I got sick and tired of flapping my lips and talking my story, and then having people say, Krista, the words that you are saying are landing with me. how can I bring this to my team? How can I bring this to my loved ones? How can I bring this to my family? And I finally said, I got you. I'll create a toolkit for you. And what that is through a book. And it's funny because Keep Freaking Going started off as a action step for me for survival when I was involved in a mass shooting. So 2017, I was witness to what still today, I hate saying this because I don't want to ever sabotage or whatever, but it's America's largest mass shooting at the Route 91 Harvest Music Festival in Las Vegas. So 58 innocent lives were taken off the earth that day. And that was ironically 4 days after I graduated from my coaching program. That was where my husband and I went to celebrate my graduation.
Wow.
So even the evening of the mass chaos that was unfolding, I remember thinking, wow, okay, this is happening right now. I'm going to use this. I'm going to turn this. I'm going to do something with this to create some sort of good in the world because it was so evil. It was so dark and so heavy and so evil. So Keep Freaking Going was those were the words for survival that night. You know, I came back from Las Vegas and I poured myself into my business. That was my deflection and that was my avoidance of my own healing. I poured myself into my clients, my coaching for them, and I was internally breaking down a lot. What they were asking me is, Krista, what were you saying that night? And I'm like, to be honest, keep freaking going. I was running for my life in the success or the goal of getting home to my 3 children. That was my plan. That was what I needed to do. What was really crazy and ironic was I did all the things wrong to heal at first. Now, I had a toolkit of skills to support me, and I still got stuck.
Yeah.
I still got very, very stuck in that story and in the victim mentality. And as I started to unpack it, what I would say quickly, but no, it took me about 2 years to really process and then create KFG, was maybe that night, Keep Freaking Going was the action step for survival. It's actually the action step for living for all of us. Like, no matter what happens to us, we get to choose how to respond to it.
Yeah.
So KFG became a battle cry, and I started to speak about it. I started to coach through it. I started to do workshops. People started saying, can I get access to this tool? How can I share it, with my loved ones? That's how I fell into creating it as a book for someone to use. And it's not Keep Freaking Going as the action step. It's K is know. That's the starting point. Step 1, know what you're navigating, with honesty, no BS, no fake it till you make it. That's the K, no. The second step is focus. That's really what we all talk about at Limitless Minds. The power of neutral, not going toxic positivity and certainly not going negative. And then G is go. It's the power move. Go.
Yeah.
We have the ability to do it. We are strong, resilient people. Let's freaking go.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's unbelievable how it's really unfolded. And it's my purpose. I will forever honor those that did not go home. And really, I just want to honor those that didn't have the choice to go home that night and really live their legacy through it. And the extra added bonus is the person that unleashed the 11 minutes barrage of bullets that night. His intention was to destroy as many lives as possible, right, in that time frame. And until I decided to regain control of my life and KFG, he was still winning. Like there came a point where I was like, oh my goodness, he's still winning. It's up to me to do something about it. So I started to KFG in my own life. And now my power and purpose is to inspire as many organizations, teams, people to do the same thing. Because guess what? He gave me the fire to help support others. So in hindsight, his purpose that night, flip the script, gonna empower as many organizations and people as possible.
Yeah, that's one of the things I've noticed about you, Chris, as I've known you for the past 4 or 5 years, is that is one of your superpowers, is that you're able to, whatever situation you're facing, to take it and find a way to use it for something that aligns completely with your values of lifting others up and helping others and serving others. And also, it's not about going negative to positive. It's going, okay, here's what's happening. And I have a choice of how I can look at this and manage it. And for you,
Mhm.
one of the things that you do so incredibly well is you take whatever it is and you go, okay, here's how I can use it to push ourselves forward. How do you do that? What like inspires you to do that? Is that just like a natural reflex for you, or is that something you got to work at?
I have to work at it. I still do today. I used to hate the phrase, "It is what it is."
Hmm.
We've all heard that, "It is what it is." I actually love that now. Isn't that
Yeah,
weird?
no,
Like,
it's
I
not, because I
love.
think most people say it with resignation. It is what
Yes,
it
yes,
is,
it is
versus
what
like,
it
no,
is.
it is what it
Oh, it is.
is. Here it is, and now I'm gonna do this, right? They don't take it
Yeah,
from a powerful perspective. They take it through resignation.
and to that point, it is what it is. Everything, everything is an opportunity. If we're willing to see it that way and get curious on the what could be of the future. Every moment, everything is an opportunity, period. Like, and some people can fight me on that, like, oh, I know, but. No, every moment that we're encountering is an opportunity to learn, to grow, to fall on our face, to try again. Everything is an opportunity. So if we get curious and look at it as such, that's where we start to get creative and carve out action plans and start to say, like, okay, how can I show up as my best self in this moment, even though this sucks? This is hard. I mean, we don't have to sugarcoat life. Of course, there's moments like that. But what do we get to do? We get to play with this moment. We can try our best to get curious in what is the next best step? Okay, let's try that out. Okay, that didn't work. Guess what? Welcome to the human experience. Try again.
Yeah.
So everything is an opportunity.
Yeah. And it seems like, I've lived this. I live this regularly where, as things get complicated, complex,
Yeah.
and, whatever the scenarios starts getting heavy because all the complexities. And then you kind of feel that paralysis, where you just end up doing nothing, right? You just, yeah, you complain about it.
Yeah.
Maybe you try to reframe, you try to go
Yeah.
neutral because you heard Josh talk about it enough, or you heard so-and-so talk about it, or you realize that it works or whatever. Right. Like, but then,
Yeah.
then you get, I think the bottleneck for a lot of people is like that go part, right?
Yeah.
That action, that bias for action. And sometimes it's just because they don't really know what that next right step is. Other times it's fear. They know what the right next step
Yeah.
is, but it's, ooh, this is, I don't know if I should, right. And so,
I love it.
when you're coaching an individual or teams, how do
Yeah.
you get people to kind of begin to, build a habit around that action component, that go component?
I
Like,
think a lot of times, yeah, and thank you for asking this question, because this is where a lot of people do stop because they feel that sensation of fear or discomfort that actually is the opposite. It means they're moving in the right direction. It really, being uncomfortable means that you're exploring. It means that you're being curious. It means that you're stepping outside of what I would call coasting, right? Like, the discomfort, if we learn how to embrace that, and instead of resisting or going the opposite way of like, I'm gonna stop, I'm uncomfortable, I'm gonna stop, I'm not going anymore because I don't know if this is right or wrong, or I'm scared. Keep freaking going. I mean, just keep micro steps. And now, please, I'm not looking at like going from step A to S, right? Micro steps of courage, because as you do that, your confidence will increase. You're going to see, like, woo, that was kind of fun. Like, I was uncomfortable as hell, but I did it anyway. And guess what? I learned this, and now I'm at this point. So, the micro steps of courage to keep freaking going through all of that is where these breakthroughs actually happen. But so oftentimes we get uncomfortable. Instead of embracing the discomfort, we stop
yeah.
or we go backwards because we're like, it's more comfortable to sit over here and just coast and be comfortable, but we're not growing. We're not learning.
Can you give us an example of like what a micro step might look like?
There's a million micro steps. So I would say it depends on the situation. But when you're stuck in the lack of not moving, not going because you're scared or you're not sure what the end result would be, number one, look for, like, the micro step I would say is reaching out to someone, right? Hey, this is my goal. This is what I'm going after. I'm scared, unbelievable. I don't know if this is the right decision. Can we have a conversation, like 5 minutes? Sometimes getting out of our own heads is the best micro step we can possibly have because we're so close. We're like inside a jar, right? Guess what? When you're inside the jar, you cannot read the label on the outside.
Mm.
You don't actually see the gaps. You have no idea what that label says. So reaching out, one of my favorite micro steps is connecting with another and saying, here's where I'm stuck. Well, like I'm going to vocalize this out loud. Here's what I'm navigating. What are your thoughts?
Yeah.
All of a sudden your partnership and something doesn't feel as scary.
Yeah.
You don't feel as stuck anymore. And it just increases momentum.
Yeah. I love that. We Josh, we kind of talked about that in a different way when you gave your Nooch nugget or before Krista joined about collaborating with reality. Right. And I was talking about mine and just that collaboration as we try to stay, because neutral, it's the right framework, and that, it's kind of, you need reps at that. Right. But sometimes you mentioned it, like you're kind of in this, myopic, I love that vision of being in the jar and not being able to read the label. Right. And so sometimes you need somebody outside that jar just kind of saying, hey, by the way, it reads this, here are the ingredients, here's the calories, here's the carbs, etc. Oh, okay, good. Okay. Well, that's what I was thinking, but I wasn't quite sure. Thanks for that perspective. Right. And so I think that's amazing.
I just kept thinking about how much mayonnaise would be getting on me if I was in the jar. And it's just like, I don't really
the jar's empty.
Okay,
the jar is empty.
I didn't want to be.
Okay, good. Yeah, because and why mayo? Like, why mayo? Like, can't we do like jelly or like?
Choose jelly.
I like mayo. I wanted to put it in there for DJ if he's listening, just so he has a reaction.
He can't stand mayo. So Krista, like, you had that. You were a part of this. I mean, tragedy, this crazy experience in Vegas, and obviously that kind of was kind of a backdrop of KFG, and certainly on the precipice of that celebration of the ICF piece and everything, and then a few years later, you're struck with like more different news, right? That and I mentioned in the intro that it's a lived experience that so many have had in their various ways, whether it be directly them, whether it be a family member, somebody they know. And you had to navigate news of cancer. And I'm really curious about your journey with what you're willing to share. And obviously we've been kind of close and checking in, and we've just been celebrating how badass you've been through that process, and I probably continue to battle this stuff. And it's really interesting because I think one thing you share is with our late co-founder Trevor Moad. And Trev was like kind of he was that dude, right? He was like this modern day godfather of this space, and he had all the tools and the research. You mentioned, like, when you're in Vegas, you had all these tools and resources, but it was like hard, it's like, but then how do I use them? You know what I mean? Right? Even I am human too, right? And so I'm really curious to hear about this, and and what you've learned about yourself, what surprised you, what was validated, and kind of what tools you kind of reached for in the toolkit. You know what I mean? And you can share the journey in general. I'd love to hear about it and share it with the audience.
Yeah. So there's nothing off limits here. And that's just the way I live. I LOL, I live out loud. That is just how I process, and how I can navigate and be my best self is not by holding back at all. So I appreciate you just bringing this up and talking through it, because to your point, there's a lot of people that are in the cancer club, whether they're personally affected, whether they are loved ones. It's a club I never, ever expected. I was diagnosed at the age of 44 with stage 3 colorectal cancer. So I actually had 0 signs and symptoms. It was only because someone shared their story with me about her journey with cancer that I felt like a whisper, a little bit of a, you've had a bubbly tummy, and maybe thought you were dairy sensitive, gluten sensitive for a couple of years. I think you should just go check yourself out. And I had to really advocate for myself, because my medical team was like, you are a young, strong, healthy individual with 0 symptoms. You don't need any of this. And I just kept saying, I just kind of want to check it out. So I got the diagnosis about almost a year and a half ago that I had cancer. And I kid you not, I accessed the tools immediately. So I was diagnosed in the salon chair. I had foils all over in my hair. In my past life, I was a blonde. I'm back to my natural, darker roots because I was diagnosed with a whole bunch of foils in my hair. and I saw the phone number from my doctor coming through. And you know that gut feeling,
Yeah.
it was the same gut feeling that I had even in Las Vegas, where I was like, this is not a good sound. These gunshot, or this is not fireworks. This is something more. Same gut feeling when I looked at my phone and saw Mayo Clinic was calling me.
Yeah.
So I took the call in the bathroom, and my doctor told me for about 10 minutes, all of these things. And I finally said to her, I said, I need you to say the words, because I need to make sure that I'm understanding correct and that I'm not caught up in a story in my head guessing that I think you're telling me I have cancer. I said, I need you to say the words out loud to me so I can walk away from this conversation with 100% truth that I heard correct.
Yeah.
And she did tell me, yes, you do have cancer. At that point, I didn't know if it was stage 3, that was through multiple surgeries and kind of investigation, but I anchored in the skills in that moment, because one thing about KFG and the power of neutral and having these like mental resilience skills, I knew what not to do, because I think there's so many lessons based on our history of what not to do.
Yeah.
Guess what, Krista? You've been through hard things before. What doesn't serve you is isolation island. What doesn't serve you is creating false stories. What doesn't serve you is pretending that you're fine and that you got it all under your own control with no support. So in the bathroom, I identified what I needed to do in that moment. And that was, okay, not go negative. Because all of a sudden you're like, oh, what stage? What if? I have 3 kids. What if? Okay, pause, take a deep breath, focus on the truth. I was told I have cancer, period. That is it. I know nothing else. What do I need to do right now? What's my focus? I need to get these damn foils out of my hair. Like, that was honestly in my head. I'm like, that's my next step right now. I got to get these things out of my hair.
Yeah.
And then I need to go. And my go is I need to go home and have a conversation with my husband.
Yeah.
Together, we need to carve out our action plan, which involved having a conversation with our kids, which involved, how am I going to live this journey? And I really did. I decided in the bathroom that day, the best thing I can do to support myself is I'm not going to hide behind the cancer curtain. I'm not hiding behind it. I'm going to live it out loud. I'm going to use this as an opportunity to learn, to grow, and, really connect with others. And it's weird because now I'm on this side where I'm healthy. I still have scans every 3 months and, just monitor things. But I'm on this side, and I can honestly look back at both the Las Vegas mass shooting and my cancer journey as 2 of the most powerful life moments that I'm so grateful I was chosen for those journeys, because I was gifted the opportunity to learn so much about myself and what does not support me and others in this life journey, right? That I would never have been given that kind of opportunity, or I never would have been given the gift of challenge to see, all right, game on, like rocket fuel. Like, these are all opportunities that we're gifted. What can we do with them? So it's bizarre.
Yeah, it's so funny. It's not funny, but it's so real. Like, so one of the first texts I got from you after you were diagnosed was, hey, this is the deal, and I'm facing it head on. It was a voice. I remember it was a voice memo, and it wasn't like, because this is one of the things that Krista does. She didn't just text. She does the
she's a voice memo. She's a voice memo.
She can actually hear her voice, which is amazing.
That. Yeah.
Which is amazing, because it's just like she doesn't have time to do the thumbs. She's got to get it from her brain through her mouth. Let's go.
Oh, my eyes are too bad. I can't see my phone.
It might be that too, but it was all like, here's the deal, and I'm facing it head on, and I'm going to do what it takes, and I'm going to give everything that I have to fight this battle. And, here I go. And I'm just letting you know so everybody else knows. And it was just like there was this like undercurrent of not everything's going to be okay, but no matter what comes my way, I'm going to deal with it. And it was so powerful and so incredible. So
Josh, what's interesting about that too, and the voice text, because I remember I thought the same thing. I was like, man, Krista's like, the voice memo. is as somebody who's on the other side of that experience. In other words, like somebody who's trying to support somebody going through it, or is just maybe looking from afar, but like still like thinking about this person intermittent, just like, I wonder how Chris is doing. I wonder how so-and-so's doing. And to hear, or, sometimes I have a family member that's going through something and I'm wondering how they're doing. When I hear their voice and I can hear that they're okay, or there's some level of confidence, or there's some level of, they have a plan and action, and you can hear it in people's voices. Selfishly on our side, it's like, okay, like she's, it's not gonna be easy, but she's good. Like she's got a plan. She's like, her mindset is on point, right? You know what I mean? And so that was really, just so that was really comforting for I say us in quotes, like probably anybody you were sending those to. And I think it doubles down just the confidence that, okay, like, she's built for this. You know what I mean? And so that was really cool.
That was one of the biggest lessons in the entire cancer journey, was what it does to those that love someone going through this. Like I learned so much about how, and I think about this ties into my work with organizations and teams too, how you respond to someone that's going through a challenge or change, right? How that actually affects others that are not on the receiving end, but they are because they're in partnership with them, right? So one of the earliest power moves that my husband and I together decided was, we are not going to fake it until we make it. We are not putting on any kind of masks. So when we told our kids kind of the truth of the reality of what was going on, my promise to them was, I'm going to expose myself on my good days, and I'm going to expose myself on my bad days. And them being witness to the bad days was as important as the good, because you know what that taught them? Mom's not full of, she's not BSing. Like, she's going to have the strength to be honest and vulnerable on her good days, but she's also going to say, you know what? Today's not a great day. I'm feeling really crummy. And I'm just not ready to, there's value in not powering through and like, let's go. It's okay to have a bad day. Yeah. Whether you're healthy or sick, it's okay to be off and to say like, today's not my day. I'm not my best self today. And that's okay, because there's always tomorrow. So not putting on a fake mask and being honest and vulnerable with where you're at today was one of my most powerful lessons in the entire cancer journey. Was like, okay, how many times and how many of us fake our truth? Like we are wearing masks of pretendance and just pretending.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So yeah, that kind of brings me to this question. Like, anybody that goes through cancer, you're going to have quote unquote bad days where you're just beat up. I'm sure physically, mentally, emotionally, those types of things. What did you do, when you had, what did they look like, first of all? And then what did you do to kind of get through them? I know, because you just kind of said it, like KFG, right? Keep freaking going. But there's days where you are like, hey, you know what? Like, no.
Yes.
So.
And sometimes KFG means doing nothing at all. Sometimes that is KFG, right? Sometimes your KFG is keep freaking going means I'm actually not going to get out of bed today. I feel absolutely horrific. If I can just hydrate my body and rest as much as possible while allowing myself to feel absolutely junky, that's still your keep freaking going. That's what your body needs. I quickly realized that I was no longer in control of the way that my body was feeling. I worked really hard on my mindset during it, but there were days that I was like, all right, I got my mind all right, but my body is doing opposite things. It is not listening. It is not going to be like, oh, I'm not going to line up with that today, Krista. Guess what? I'm going to force you to slow down. And you have to find the balance between the two. And there were days that I was like, I'm going to give myself a pity party today, and I'm not going to apologize for it. I'm going to sit here in bed and I'm going to be a whine and complain and be like, this is terrible. I hate this. I'm missing out on X, Y, or Z. I think my biggest pity party day was when I was not able to participate in my daughter's 16th birthday. I sat in my bed and I had the biggest pity party and I cried and all things. And I was like, I think that was a gift. I was like, I'm okay allowing this for myself. I'm not going to pretend to be okay with this moment. And then guess what? The next day was a whole different day. Then I was like, game on, let's go. I'm ready to tackle this world again. So I think there's also power in the pause and slowing down. I mean, there is such beauty in that when you need to do it. It's support.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you feel like this journey has shifted or changed the way you coach people?
100%, Harry.
Mhm.
I feel like my heart is so wide open that I mean, I have so much energy and so much power and purpose to help unleash everyone's inner. I think we have so much inner skills and inner like rocket fuel that's just waiting to actually like explode. And I think this whole thing has completely transformed me where I am on a mission. I am like, I could run through a brick wall every freaking day because I'm so excited to help others unleash their power and purpose. And when it happens, just bearing witness to it and seeing like these little micro successes or micro wins, those are all leaps and bounds. They're piling up to massive things, right? But being a witness to these little micro wins is exactly why I'm here on this earth doing these things. And they fill me up and they fill my cup. And to be honest, none of us know like how many chapters, how many written story pages we get in this life, in these books of life of our own. We have no idea. But I can lay my head down every single night and be like, God, what a ride. Like, this is amazing. Like, and it's only because of my connection with others and pouring myself into watching them learn to love themselves and succeed and break through all of these hesitations and barriers that are getting in their own way and being like, this is a ride. This is this life that we're on. It's a trip. It's a ride. Let's enjoy it. Let's just keep freaking going. Yeah. So it's changed everything.
Yeah, one of the things that really jumps out, Krista, is you kind of mentioned it, is like doing things with purpose and on purpose. So here you are, you're in bed and you're just in shambles, and you're like, I'm going to allow myself to have a pity party today. That's you're taking control of that, and I think that's something that, and as you're talking now about the things that really lift you up, it's about helping people realize that they do have a choice, that they do
Yes.
have this power of deciding how they want their story to be. Charlie Smith, our good friend, always say, it's your pen, my pen, my story. And it's really similar to that, where it's like, hey, as long as like, we're going to have emotions, we're going to have feelings, we're going to have things that don't feel good, that whatever, right? We're going to have days that we're down. We're going to have days that are good. But here's the key. If we're mindful of that and we're choosing how we want to go, then it doesn't matter what comes our way. We'll handle it.
Yeah. And I decided to document things. I posted things on social media. I talked through things that not a lot of people talk through, like I had an ostomy for a while. I named her Blanche because she was my girl and I love the Golden Girl. Right? Stuff like that as I was going through 4 surgeries and 4 rounds of chemo and I just kind of lived the whole thing out loud, because what I was hearing back from others, I think it helped me not be fake to myself and be like, this is Krista today and I'm okay with her.
Yeah.
All right. I actually love her today, even though it's a mess and it's sloppy and she feels like junk, and I'm choosing to love myself today. And here's where I'm at today.
Yeah.
And the feedback I was hearing from others was, thank you for your vulnerability in that moment, because it made me feel less alone, because I'm navigating something similar, or my husband is, or my daughter is. And seeing that you're okay with, I say being perfectly imperfect. That's what we all are, but we don't talk a lot about it. And there's a lot of connection and growth and beautiful moments in the chaos, in the mess.
Yeah.
So,
I think that's one of my takeaways is I think that a lot of people have a misperception of what resilience is. You know what I mean? And resilience is a word that's like used, it's a buzzword, right? In our space. Of course. And it's important, but I think that it's oftentimes kind of just like misconstrued as just like, hey, I need to be mentally tough, right? Like I'm just going to be tough, right?
the Jocko mentality, I got this. Oh, yeah.
And that happens good,
Yeah, good. We've all seen the video.
And I think that, I think that certainly, that specific thing that Jocko says, I think if you really listen to it, it's a cool framework.
It's good,
nice, right? It's a good framework.
Yeah.
But I think but I think resilience is also like honest, like the things you mentioned, honesty, self-compassion,
Yeah.
a willingness to keep going imperfectly, right? And and I think that that's what allows you to endure. Because I think resilience is really about endurance over time, right? Because you're
100%.
gonna have, just like you're gonna have micro wins, you're gonna have micro adversities, micro challenges that exist. So like, how do I handle like the micro stuff, so that the
Yeah.
macro is more manageable, and the resilience is wired, right? And that it can't just be tough, 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 tough. Hopefully
Right.
you have more tough moments than than pity party moments. Like I love to say that, I love to, but I
Yeah.
also don't want to pretend that depending on what people are going through, they're not going to have, on a pity party streak, you know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
I think that
And
honestly,
it's
that's
a
something,
choice.
yeah,
It's a
exactly.
choice. I mean, if you're choosing a pity party and you do that for, 3 years, it's a choice. You have to be okay with that choice,
Yeah.
and that was part of my lessons too, is I'm going to choose this for today because I want to. Okay. Like own it. And then the next day, guess what? I was able to shift and move faster from that, where I'm like, okay, I did that yesterday. I don't want to do that today. I'm going to find something else to focus on here.
Yeah.
I'm going to choose something else for today.
Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
Krista, we're gonna kind of wrap here,
Yeah.
but we're gonna do that whole rapid fire thing that people do. You know what I mean?
Let's
So
go.
so we're gonna put you on the hot seat, give you some rapid fire stuff, and we don't have to go that fast. It doesn't have to be that rapid, but it's a handful of questions as we head out. So okay, so here's a few.
Good exhale, Krista. Good exhale.
People come and listen to this podcast. They're looking for little tools and tricks and these different things. Like what's one habit that you individually that you won't skip, that you won't defer
Easy.
on? Yeah.
Easy. Every single morning. Every single morning, I wake up and the first thing I say out loud, I am laying in bed. I have not moved my body, nothing. I say, I wonder what kind of magic can happen today. Every single morning.
Okay.
Every single morning. Guess what? Lots of magic happens throughout the day.
Quick
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
Is your husband
Yeah.
already up and going, or is he asleep too? And is that his alarm bell?
He's gone, but he's heard it many times before. Where then he's
Because
like,
if I did that, my wife would be
all
like, "Shut
right,
up! Try to sleep here."
all right. It's like his alarm clock. He's out the door usually at 5:30 in the morning. So I'm a 6 o'clock. That's my
All right.
alarm clock getting up. But it's the first question that comes to my head. It's the first thing I say out loud. But he's heard it before where he's like, all right, Krista's getting up. All right, that's her
I
cue.
wonder what magic is going to happen today.
I think
Yeah.
Courtney's response to that, if I asked it, would be like, "I'm going to make you disappear." That's what kind of magic's going to happen. Poof, you're gone.
No, but when you ask that question, try it. I'm going to challenge
I
both
love
of
it.
you tomorrow morning. Try it. Guess what you're going to do? You're going to go to the coffee shop and there's going to be a front row parking spot. You're going to be like, boom,
Yeah,
magic.
magic.
And you're going to find someone and they're going to do that. And you're going to be like, boom, more magic. You're going to find so much magic.
Love
and
it.
you're going to be like, okay, Krista,
Love
I
it.
see you. I know why you're doing that.
Do you believe in magic? All right, I love it. Okay.
I believe in Harry's karaoke voice is what I believe.
Oh yeah. Try to
It's
sprinkle that in every
It's
now and again.
legit. Krista's seen it. It's legit.
Tell
I
me,
have.
tell me about
Next level.
and this is this is the tough one because it's kind of a loaded question because life presents a lot of these.
Yep.
A moment in your life that you're most proud of. Power in the pause. Power in the pause.
A moment in your life that you're most proud of. I'm going to say my cancer journey.
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say I am proud of that. And only the way I'm proud of it is I'm so proud of the growth that it gave my children.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm proud of the fact that I got cancer. I'm so proud of that because my children got so strong through that journey because they just got access to so many moments of choice and how to respond and how to. So I'm really proud of getting diagnosed with cancer. Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Yep, I know. I'll own it.
I have a follow-up question. Are you a mom who, because your kids are a little older, but do you still like just grab their head and kiss them? Like just they don't have a choice.
All the
I got that
time.
sense. I got that sense.
All the time. My son's 19. He comes home from college. He knows I'm kissing him. I'm smelling his hair. I'm just like right there. I'm like, yep. And my daughters, they're just used to it. They're like, okay, mom, yeah, smell me. You're fine. It's fine. It's fine.
I love it.
Funny.
That's
so
great.
funny.
I love moms, Gosh,
I
moms are
love
the
it.
best. Are you gonna write another book one day?
Absolutely. I'm working on it right now.
Okay. All right.
Never, ever, ever thought I would say that because going to be honest with you. I don't enjoy the author process.
Mhm.
I'm a speaker. I like to have conversations. I like doing this. This is more fun for me.
Yeah.
But I've got so much more in here that I just want the world to have access to, and I want to help people. And it's just another written form, another way to help,
Yeah.
share a message.
Yeah.
So yes.
Okay. Last question. What's one mindset shift that any person that's listening needs to hear today?
A mindset shift. This one, I'm just going to say, don't do it alone.
Mhm.
No matter what your mind's telling you, like a lot of leaders still, like I've been working with them for years. I got this. I got this. I know you got this. But guess what? We got this.
Yeah.
Put a we in there and everything gets better and easier, and hard lessons become life lessons, and breakdowns become breakthroughs. So the mindset shift is, I got this. I got this. No, just change that to we.
Yeah.
We got this. Who's in it with you? Because we're better together.
I think a lot of leaders fall into that trap because most leaders are actually surrounded by people, right?
Yeah.
Mostly that report to them. Certainly there's maybe they're leading up as well, but in that role, I think they feel like they are going at it together because they have people. But what they're lacking is that willingness to like be curious, like curiosity component. They're lacking the willingness to kind of expose, they feel like they're going to get exposed, right? And for not knowing said thing, right? Or because like a lot of us think that like, man, I'm going crazy. I'm going crazy. I'm taking crazy pills, right? But you're not willing.
Yeah.
You're kind of like, well, I could talk to so and so. Be like, no, there's if I talk to them, they're gonna. That's too much at stake. Or I could talk to this person. No, problem with them is that like then they're gonna say so and so. They're gonna say such and such to so and so. So you found all these excuses not to talk to a few people that are in your ecosystem because there's some sort of perceived cost to
100%.
like exposing yourself, right? And so I think that I think people get confused with having people in the room, quote unquote, with doing things together, right? And collaborating and asking those tough questions, and then time goes on and you just kind of start stacking that unwillingness to tap into curiosity,
And I think what you said right there, Harry, is such a powerful, that's a mindset shift, because when a leader or anyone is in that mindset, in that frame, their ego's in the way.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden it's like, wait a minute. When you understand, like, I got to step outside myself and be a little bit more vulnerable. Now you're doing a we moment. It's not a me moment. We're not supposed to be navigating, and we're not on this life to be siloed individual. That you're in your way. Yeah. Guess what? That's not what we're here for. So step outside yourself and understand that it's we. It's never been me. It's never been me. It's always been we.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, Krista, I'm really grateful that we finally got you on the pod. I mean, like it's been a minute.
We are very pumped.
Yeah. And so this is just the first of hopefully continuous visits on the Limitless Minds podcast. And folks listening, like we mentioned, Krista's one of our gold star coaches. She's doing a lot of great stuff individually. She's doing things outside of Limitless as well. She's obviously an author, going to write another one. You can find her, I know, on LinkedIn and some other platforms. Where else can we find you other than like LinkedIn? Like, are you on Instagram? Are you on the gram?
Place is my website. Chris, I'm on the gram.
On the gram?
Find me on the gram.
Okay.
I don't promise you're going to find great content because my daughters are always like, Mom, I'm like, I'm trying. I'm getting myself out there.
Yeah.
But you can find me on the gram. You can find me on LinkedIn. Yeah. KristaRyan.com is the easiest place.
Sweet. All right, gang. Beautiful. Well, listen, we're grateful for you. Just love, kind of just the model of resilience. And for those listening, I know Krista obviously went through, her cancer journey. But remember, for those that maybe aren't going through something like that, you don't have to be sick to get better.
No.
We'll see you next time.
Freaking going.
That's right.
Yeah.
Peace.
Love you. Love you. Love you. Thank you so much.